The year was 2038, and the waters of the Timor Sea were unnaturally calm. Deep beneath the surface, HMAS Defiant, Australia's crown jewel nuclear submarine, slipped through the thermal layers. Her crew operated in a realm of low-frequency hums and green-tinted displays. Tensions in the Indo-Pacific had finally boiled over into open war, and Defiant had just acquired a prime target, a forward command surface fleet of the People's Liberation Army Navy, PLAN. Captain Mark Vance gripped the edge of the tactical console. Fire control locked on target Alpha. Captain, requesting permission to launch. Permission granted, Mark, Commander Marcus Cole replied, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. Fire. Vance pushed the launch key. There was no sudden surge of compressed air, no thunderous shudder of torpedo tubes opening. Instead, the console screens flickered. A silent pulse rippled through the hull, not an explosion, but a localized electromagnetic and quantum network collapse. Critical system failure. SATCOM, offline. Internal comms, offline. Propulsion, offline. Tactical suite, offline. The lights cut to a dim, battery-powered emergency red. Standard cyber defenses hadn't just been breached, they had been instantly dissolved by China's long-guarded weapon, a ultra-low-frequency quantum jamming grid capable of severing digital connections, disabling digital relays, and bricking computerized control systems across vast oceanic zones. Defiant's engines died. Deep ocean currents caught her dead, inert steel hull, pulling her down into the cold abyss of the Sunda Trench, where she settled silently on a ledge 1,200 meters below the surface. The Cascade. The disappearance of Defiant sparked immediate military action. A United States Navy strike group, led by the USS Enterprise, moved at flank speed into the region to locate the submarine and re-establish dominance. They never got the chance. As the American carrier fleet entered the jamming perimeter, every satellite uplink, military network, and tactical data link went pitch black. Modern warships, reliant entirely on networked warfare, became blind, deaf, and static. Guidance systems failed mid-flight. Engines reliant on digital feedback loops choked out. Submarines sent to assist Defiant fell silent one by one, their systems jammed, adrift in the deep currents like iron coffins. Ships on the surface floated helplessly, their digital bridge displays frozen, completely cut off from command and control. China hadn't fired a single kinetic missile at the rescue fleet. They had simply erased the digital tether holding modern militaries together. The dark 8 months. On board HMAS Defiant, time slowed to a agonizing crawl. With main power dead, the emergency scrubbers fought a losing battle against carbon dioxide. Internal communications were non-existent. The crew was trapped in pitch darkness and frigid cold, surrounded by dead screens and useless machinery, unable to signal for help or ascend to the surface. Topside, the war ended without a single massive naval battle. With the US military paralyzed by an invisible digital shield and unable to coordinate forces across the Pacific, the geopolitical balance shifted overnight. Australia's coastal defences were entirely isolated. For 8 long months, Defiant rested in the dark. It was only after months of grueling, one-sided diplomatic negotiations in Beijing that China finally agreed to grant a humanitarian exemption to lower the jamming field in the trench, allowing a specialized rescue team access to the site. The aftermath. When the salvage crew finally cut through the hatch of HMAS Defiant, they found only silence. The atmospheric scrubbers had failed within the first few weeks. All 78 crew members had perished long before the world above finished bargaining for their recovery. The surrender documents came quickly after. The United States signed the Treaty of Beijing, a sweeping demilitarization accord modeled after the post-WW4 pacts of the 20th century. Under its terms, the US permanently renounced its right to wage offensive expeditionary warfare, dismantled its forward Pacific bases, and pulled its fleet back to the West Coast. Australia, stripped of its security alliances and completely vulnerable, formally dissolved its sovereign military apparatus, signing away its territorial sovereignty and becoming a protectorate under the administrative authority of Beijing. In the end, the war wasn't lost to massive explosions or land invasions, but to a silent, digital darkness that left the world's greatest fleets floating helpless in an empty sea.